Hello and welcome back to the Second Chance Live channel here on YouTube. I'm happy to see that you decided to stop by to watch this video presentation. Thank you. In today's video presentation, I'm going to be sharing an article that I wrote approximately a week ago. Actually, it's a two-part article. I'm going to be including both parts 1 and part 2 on this video presentation to make it easier for you to access and follow the flow of both parts 1 and 2. As you listen to the article being read and watch this video presentation, questions come to mind, please send those questions to me. All questions are good questions, and I would love to hear from you. If you'd like to leave a comment, I would also like to hear from you. You may do so through the comment section here on YouTube or through my contact information page on Second Chance to Live at secondchancelive.org. To read the article, I'll put my glasses back on and bring up the article. Thank you again for your time. You are always welcome both here and at Second Chance to Live. Here's the article, Overcoming a Fear of Failure and Making Changes, Part 1. Hello and welcome back to Second Chance to Live, my friend. You are always welcome around my table. In one of my most recent articles, I shared with you that I felt as though I had come up against a wall. In another recent article, I shared with you an article that I wrote approximately 5.5 years ago by the title of Living My Destiny Through Walls. In that article, I shared with you what I learned through my experience when coming up against these proverbial walls. For the past several days, I have been writing in a journal about my experience with my recent wall. During the course of the past several days, I spent time meditating, praying, writing in a journal, and examining what I was experiencing due to my current wall. In the process of meditating, praying, writing in a journal, and examining my current wall, several realities came to mind, or came to light. Let me share some of these awarenesses with you, or the awarenesses that I had at that time. If nothing changes, it will remain the same. And if I keep doing what I've always done while expecting to get different results, I am practicing what I've heard is a form of insanity. My awareness gave way to acceptance of my wall. My acceptance helped me to realize that I needed to take action. My acceptance helped me to realize that if I want to get different results in life, I need to make changes. My acceptance helped me to realize that I may only need to make minor changes for my life and experience to take on new meaning. For many years of my life, I felt driven to be perfect to avoid feeling shame at a core level, because I did not feel like I just made mistakes, but I felt as though I was a mistake. My drive to be perfect was motivated by my fear of failure, my fear of abandonment, and fear of self-annihilation. In my fear of experiencing shame, my fear of failure, being abandoned emotionally, spiritually, and physically, and my fear of self-annihilation, or that my life simply did not matter, I lived my life from an all or none, black and white, rigid perspective. In my rigid perspective, I continually sought and strove to overcompensate for my insecurities and my fear of self-annihilation at the core of my being, because of the reprisal for making mistakes. In my overcompensation, I lived my life in a state of hypervigilance in an unsuccessful attempt to ward off my fear of failure, my fear of abandonment, and my fear of self-annihilation at the core of my being. I'll read part 2 now. Part 2, Overcoming a Fear of Failure and Making Changes, Part 2. As I thought about what I had written in my journal, I remembered a meeting that I attended several years ago. In this meeting, the subject of coming up against walls in our lives was brought to the table for discussion. As I listened to the members of the group share their experience, I gained a new perspective. What one person shared in the meeting gave me hope and helped me to realize that I could trust the loving God to be with me in whatever decision I felt to make at the time. whether I decide to turn to the left or to the right when I'm faced and at a wall. I attended a meeting last evening and the topic of the 11th step was presented for discussion. The 11th step reads, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. When the time came for me to share, I shared what I had heard in a meeting some years ago. When faced with a wall, I can pray for the knowledge of God's will for me and the power to carry that out, and then make a decision to turn to the right or to the left. Once I make the decision to turn to the right or to the left, I can trust that a loving God will be with me in whatever decision that I make at the time. I do not have to fear that a loving God will abandon me if I make the wrong decision. My experience has taught me that if, at some point after making the decision to turn to the right or to the left, I then decide that I should have gone in the opposite direction, I can turn around. With my awareness, I can have the assurance that a loving God will be with me as I move in the opposite direction. With my awareness, I can take the risk to make changes in my life apart from the fear of failure. With my awareness, I can make changes in my life apart from the fear of being abandoned by a loving God. This is the end of the two-part article series. Again, I want to thank you for being here and for listening. And again, if you have questions, please send those questions to me. All questions are good questions. Let me encourage you with this, my friend, as I need to be encouraged myself. Please do not give up on the process of loving God or yourself, because more will be revealed to you in time as is being revealed to me. The pieces of the puzzle will come together at the right time and in the right order. So keep trusting and don't give up. More will be revealed. I'll say so long for now. Thank you again for your time, and God bless both you and your family. So long now.